The Zephyrian Emperor Kethavar stood before the holographic display of his war council, his forearms gesturing dramatically at the tactical readouts. The massive crystalline chamber echoed with the chittering voices of his generals, each representing a different species in his galactic empire. 200 million credits, the Emperor declared, his voice carrying the authority of one who ruled over 17 star systems. I will pay 200 million credits to whoever brings me the ghost engineer. Anna wiped the grease from her hands with a stained rag, barely glancing up from the fusion reactor she was repairing in the ship's lower maintenance bay. The Emperor's voice carried through the comm system, as it did every few days when he made some grand pronouncement. She'd heard this particular speech 3 times this week. The ghost engineer, that's what they called the mysterious saboteur who had been systematically dismantling the Empire's war machine from within. Entire fleets would find their hyperdrives failing mid-jump. Weapon systems would malfunction during crucial battles. Supply ships would suffer mysterious engine failures that left rebel forces perfectly positioned to capture them. Helen, pass me the quantum spanner, Anna called to her friend, who was sorting through a toolbox nearby. Helen, a fellow human and one of the few who knew Anna's real capabilities, handed over the tool with a knowing smirk. Another inspiring speech from His Majesty? Same one as yesterday, Anna replied, diving back into the reactor's inner workings. You'd think after 6 months of failures he'd realize his security protocols aren't worth the metal they're printed on. The truth was elegantly simple, and that's what made it so effective. Anna wasn't some elite operative infiltrating from the outside. She was maintenance staff, invisible, ignored, and with access to every critical system on every ship in the Imperial fleet. Humans had been conscripted into the Empire's service corps decades ago, valued only for their small size and ability to fit into cramped maintenance spaces that other species couldn't access. Nobody paid attention to the human mechanic crawling through the ventilation systems. Nobody questioned why she needed access to the navigation computers. She was just fixing the cooling units after all. Nobody wondered why she spent so much time near the weapons array control systems. Someone had to clean them. The ghost strikes again, Helen whispered, pointing to her datapad where reports were flooding in about another supply convoy that had mysteriously broken down in rebel territory. Funny how these things keep happening. Anna allowed herself a small smile as she made a minute adjustment to the reactor's fusion matrix, one that would cause a cascade failure in exactly 72 hours, when the ship would be passing through a sector where rebel forces could easily rescue the prisoners in the cargo hold. Above them, the Emperor continued his tirade. This ghost engineer knows our systems better than our own technicians. They predict our movements, counter our strategies, and somehow access our most secure networks. They must be stopped. If only he knew, Helen muttered under her breath. The irony was almost too perfect. Every morning Anna would pass the Emperor in the corridors as she went about her duties. He would walk right past her, sometimes even stepping around her tool cart without a glance. To him, she was just another piece of equipment, useful but utterly beneath his notice. That invisibility was her greatest weapon. While the Emperor's intelligence services scoured the galaxy looking for master spies and elite hackers, the real ghost engineer was fixing his breakfast dispenser and quietly installing a virus that would corrupt his fleet's targeting systems during the next engagement with rebel forces. Anna had studied every ship class in the Imperial fleet, memorized every system schematic, and learned to exploit weaknesses that the original designers never even considered. Human ingenuity, it turned out, was perfectly suited to finding creative solutions, especially when those solutions involved making other people's technology fail at precisely the right moments. Ma'am. A junior officer appeared at the maintenance bay entrance, addressing Anna with the barely contained disdain typical of Imperial personnel. The Emperor requires immediate repairs to his personal transport, some kind of navigation glitch. Of course, sir, Anna replied, gathering her tools. I'll fix it right away. Helen caught her eye and winked. They both knew there was no glitch. Anna had programmed the navigation computer to randomly display error messages whenever the Emperor was planning to travel to systems where loyal worlds were declaring independence. It was a small thing, but it had delayed Imperial response times by crucial hours on multiple occasions. As Anna made her way to the Emperor's transport, she passed through the command center where Kethvar was still addressing his council. "Double the security protocols," he commanded. "This ghost engineer must have access to our most sensitive systems. Check everyone with high-level clearance." Anna paused just long enough to hear one of the generals respond, "Your Majesty, what if we're looking in the wrong places? What if this saboteur isn't someone with high clearance, but rather someone we've overlooked entirely?" The Emperor's laugh was dismissive. "Impossible. Only our most trusted officers have the knowledge and access necessary for these operations. The answer lies among our elite personnel, not among the service staff." Anna continued walking, her tool cart squeaking softly as it rolled across the polished deck plates. Behind her, the most powerful being in the galaxy continued planning to spend fortunes hunting for an enemy who was already standing in his shadow, invisible by virtue of being exactly what she appeared to be, a human mechanic, ignored and underestimated. Sometimes, Anna reflected as she began repairing the Emperor's navigation system, the best place to hide was in plain sight. And sometimes the greatest victories came not from grand gestures, but from 1,000 small acts of rebellion, carried out by those whom the powerful never bothered to see. The ghost engineer would strike again tomorrow. The Emperor would never think to look down.